This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 210, Drowning in Digital. Are you a real estate agent who wants to build your real estate job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan or any plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction, I've created a free jumpstart plan for you that's waiting at freeagentgift.com. Simple plan, easy to follow, really just a wireframe, but it's the very one that I use myself for my own book of business. I teach all of my agents and all the top producers that I coach build their businesses on top of the same very wireframe plan. Go get a copy of it. I'm telling you, I wish somebody had kicked me in the side of the head and made me pay attention like this early on. So I'll proverbially do that for you. All right, get going. All right, drowning in digital. Yeah, that's the way I feel. I'm sitting here creating podcast after podcast and picture after picture. And now I have to worry about Instagram and TikTok and YouTube shorts and all of the vertical video versus the horizontal short term or short form versus long form. I can't even speak about it. I get tongue tied. It is so much. And so if I feel that way as a broker owner, a top producer, a teacher, I can only imagine what you feel like. So let me try to sort this out. And I'm going to start doing these podcasts a wee bit differently. I'm going to try to give you really what is a daily tip so that when you hear one of these, you can go back and just take one piece of this and work on it. And I will post those as short. So just to be transparent, I'm even changing the way that I do my long form so that it can be easily segmented into short form as well. So what you'll notice right away that the way that I'm changing and adapting is thinking about how to be able to easily repurpose everything that I do in one sitting. So when I do these podcasts, for example, this is pre-digitization. Okay. In other words, something has to be written. A topic is chosen. It's usually based on what I feel most people's pain point is. And then I try to come up with a podcast that's based on solutions. But our brain thinks in lists. It's much easier to think in a checklist. So if you were able to go back and look at this, there'll be a checklist of points. And I'll try to do a better job going forward of saying, here's the first point. And if you want to go look at my shorts, when you see them on Instagram, YouTube shorts are probably a better place because you'd see them more sequentially there. But I'll try to take 1 week's long form and chop it up into a daily for that 1 week. So there'll be almost like a course for you to, not almost like a course, there'll be a course for you to follow on a subject that is important to me as a top producer, as important to top producers that I coach, agents that are new, agents that have been around a while trying to reorient themselves, because we have to sift and sort through all this noise so that we can make more money as real estate agents. Otherwise, this isn't even a viable choice for making a living, right? So here's the first point. Here we go. Point number 1, why do anything digitally? I mean, really think about it. When you're in a physical business such as real estate, now I've been around it long enough where there was no digital. If I go all the way back in time to when I first got my license, it was 1999. And I had done a lot of flips. And before that, from about 95 on, I was more an investor, flipping properties. And I had a friend who owned a buyer brokerage. And I would go there every 2 weeks and sit down and look through this booklet of properties. And I would flip the pages and I would choose one. And then I would run out and go look at the property, make an offer, and everything was physical. So all I had was this one booklet that I would go through. So it was print. Everything was print. There was zero digital. And guess what? I did just fine. And then when I became an agent, it was still the case, but now things were going online. So I used digital simply to speed up the process because of instant access as a realtor. So the second point though here is, how does digital affect you getting more sales? So as we started to drift into digital, the first thing that I would look at and say is, okay, well, look, digital helped me speed up the process of finding the property. So the leverage of digital media was to the benefit of the real estate agent, who would then call up their client with speed, especially in a hot market. If you were a hustler, you got up early in the morning, you looked at the hot sheet. Now that was digitally being presented. You'd call up all your clients. You'd call up the other agent. You'd book a showing. You'd run out and you'd show the property and you'd write an offer, hopefully before everybody else did. I can remember that being probably really in the early 2000s where that was what it was like. So that's the way digital affected more sales. But today, it's a much more difficult subject. How do you leverage digital to make more sales? Is it lead generation? You go into all these things, right? So let me just make point number 3 here very clear. Physical work in the real estate agent business precedes digital marketing in real estate. So let me talk about what I mean by that as I look at my modern sales team, the way that I have set up my business. I am telling you, digital media is not the primary source of any of my business. And if you want to see my business, go to thegriffin, GRIFFIN.co, and you can go look at my featured properties. Now, you'll see which ones are mine and some are my agents, but the majority of my luxury-driven business, you hear me say that too, and I hope you lean in on that one, is done through physically picking up a phone and dialing out to certain lists. And it's the obvious stuff. It's the expireds. It's the canceleds. It's the withdrawns. It might be the probates for some of my clients. But it's a smart list of people that would have some context to possibly sell their house so that we can use that list to really begin to make prospects. So it's a very physical business. I mean, I know it's a digital phone. I get it, but you know where I'm going. I'm talking about picking up the phone and talking to somebody so I can physically get in front of them and convince them to use me to help sell their house or help them find one. Simple. Physical work precedes digital marketing in real estate. Point number 4. Here we go. Okay. Digital, though, once you get the listing, should be used to present the properties well. And I'm going to put a double underline under well. I can't believe to this day how many times I go in to present to an expired listing and the digital media is horrendous. Like I just pull up, if you're watching on YouTube or wherever else, I just pulled up my phone as a physical instrument to make an outbound call. But this is not a professional camera. The one I'm staring into is getting closer, a Canon 90D DSLR. And when you see the modern day photographer come out to take digital photography, they come with their box lighting, what's shining in my face right now. They come with all of what they need to take professional pictures of a property. I can't even fathom that somebody would take them on their iPad. That was one I went into and, it's digital photography. Well, yeah, but not by a modern day photographer. So, you really need to use digital to present the properties well. Use a professional photographer who knows how to optimize those digital pictures, and then a good video editor. They're everywhere on the internet. You can go get one of them to edit it up so that it's presented well. Point number 5. Digital should be used to present you well, okay? Digital should be used to present you well. Well, what do you mean? So let's go back to this concept. And again, you can see this live on my website if you like, thegriffin.co. Go over there and you can see how I present the featured properties there. In other words, and again, I know you're going to say, I've seen that before. Okay, but not everybody does behave that way. Not everybody takes a picture, and even super high end. I can't believe how many pictures are sent in that were taken vertically that don't automatically get resized on everybody's website. I know that because I own the website company with my partner that thegriffin.co is based on. And it's staggering to us how many brokers and the photographers don't understand that not every site resizes well for vertical versus horizontal. So all of a sudden there's these big, weird presentations on these websites. So now your client's property at $2 to $20 million isn't presented correctly. Crazy, right? So that's one place. But the point in this one is you have to present you well too. So now go over to my blog and look at how I present myself. I'm doing my market updates once a month, and I'm doing a weekly tip where I rotate between sellers and buyers, and in my case, agents. So I'll rotate a third in there. But I'm presenting myself well. I'm using the proper lighting as I'm doing here today. I'm following a structured script of what I want to talk about so I don't babble on and it's to the point. That's exactly how you present yourself well. And that's very important. Point number 6, digital advertising should be that intentional. It should be very intentional. You should never whimsically start any kind of digital marketing or digital media without understanding how it supports you to go back to the points I talked about where you are going to be physically in front of somebody, right? So what I say is the first thing to think about beyond presenting the property well and beyond presenting you well is just understanding that that is a secondary support cast for your personal conversion of business. So if you make an outbound call, and then we do a lot of physical marketing too, by the way, we send physical packages to buyer and seller prospects immediately, because we want them to have that kinesthetic experience, because digital can be dismissed. An email can be dismissed. Anything can disappear pretty quickly digitally. But physically, we support our phone work or our face work with a physical package of information that educates somebody. It's our best what to do information for free. Well, how does digital support that? Well, when they read it and it says griffinfeaturedproperties.com, they end up there. Or they see the tip series and now they get to the site and they go to the blog and they see all these series, or they download the whole plan. You see, all that is waiting to support the vetting process that somebody's going to go through, because that's the primary use of digital beyond just looking for properties. I get it. Every buyer and seller is going to go on their app, or they're going to go on a phone and look for properties by just Googling them or using an app. Sure, they look for properties, but then they're still using us. In the majority, by far, they're using real estate agents. The majority of deals in real estate happen with an agent involved. So you better be digitally ready to be vetted. That's what I say, right? Now, the 7th point here is, and final, just make a digital plan that cheats to money making versus vanity marketing. I think this is the biggest problem with digital media, is that you see, especially younger agents who haven't been guided properly. And I have a lot of them that joined my brokerage, the Griffin, and now we're licensed in 5 states, and they're all coming in and they're all young, and their perception of the way that business works is all through digital. Well, we don't sell a digital product. It would be wonderful if we sold a digital product, then I could teach just digital to digital, and this would be a different conversation here today. But I can't do that. So I have to teach them, you need a plan. And it starts this simply, I tell them. Do a once a month market update. When I give you the statistics in one page, I'll give you a couple of talking points, highlight those talking points, do a post, and syndicate it to all these, or do a video and syndicate it to all the channels that you possibly can. You have 3 channels for vertical: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. I'd go with those. And then for horizontal version of the same market update, you have your Facebook page and your profile, which I would share it to, your LinkedIn profile, which is business to business. Other business people want to do it with you, right? And then Twitter will take that same kind of format too. My gosh, now all of a sudden one piece of content is everywhere. And you just had to film it twice, and it's a short anyway. You don't have to go long form on any of that. And then the second thing is do a tip each week and then syndicate the same way. That's a plan. That's it. That's a plan. Now, you noticed I didn't talk heavily about lead generation, because I will tell you that my warning to you all, if you go out and buy a lead generation platform, you better believe that that is going to be loaded with whimsical inquiries about what's my home worth, or forced opt-in access to get access to properties. So you're going to get a lot of people that just want to get through the barrier to get what they want, and they're not seriously interested. So if you don't have a conversion mechanism to follow up with those people and convert the trash to trash and the prospects to prospects, and that's like panning for gold, then why would you do it at all? Doesn't make any sense, does it? So that's a quick and dirty look at digital. Let me go back and highlight these points, right? The question on the table here today in this podcast was, are you drowning in digital or even thinking about digital media? The answer is yes. It's a rhetorical yes for all of us. So here were the 7 points. The first point, why should you do anything digitally? Ask yourself that seriously. Second point is, how does digital media or your use of it affect you getting more sales. The third point is physical work precedes digital marketing in real estate. You have to pick up the phone. That's the primary way that to this very day, I get my business. And some of it's pretty good stuff. Multi-millions picking up the phone. 4, digital should be used also now to present your properties well. Don't go get a listing and halfway the pictures with your iPhone or pretend you're a photographer if you don't even know how to, optimize the pictures for the right format for every website that consumes it. Present them well. Get a professional photographer involved. Point number 5, digital should be used to present you well. So when you go on digital, don't just start doing crazy things. Say something intelligently. And that leads to point number 6 is that digital advertising should be intentional. Intentional about what you're saying and how it supports you physically converting more business. And the final point was make a digital plan that cheats to money making versus vanity marketing. I mean, you see a lot of these brands out there, so I know you get confused that, well, they're doing this vanity marketing and they're multi-millions. Yeah, but that's not the way they started. They started off by being as calculated as possible to turn what they were doing into money. And then celebritized versions of themselves can get away with doing enormous brand vanity marketing, really just documenting everything that they do. All right, let me summarize it this way. Digital media is perhaps the most confusing medium for real estate agents. Why do we use it at all is the question. Well, the most obvious problem is that we're not using digital media based on a plan that helps us acquire more business. The obvious primary use for digital media historically was for lead capture. However, in a content marketing world, you must also create helpful, insightful videos. Well, isn't all that, in thinking about it, overwhelming? Okay, so the key point is to be intentional about a plan that presents you and your properties in the best light so that prospective clients have an easy time vetting you online so that when you're physically together, it's easier for you to win the business. And I'll just underline one final comment. This is what I do every single week. I had 2 listing presentations in the last 24 hours, a third one that just got teed up, and I'm going to do 2 open houses tomorrow. So I'm not making this stuff up. It's what I do. And after 23 years in the business, why would I be doing those things? Why would I do digital media this way? Because it makes me money. That's why. And I'm not a money guy per se when I speak typically into the podcasts that I do. But let's get real. You can waste an enormity of time and then feel dejected that none of this worked for you per se. That's what you'll say. And the truth is, no, digital media works, but as a support cast, okay? All right, remember, you can take immediate action and get started in the right direction with our free simple business plan. We talk about this all the time. It's waiting for you at freeagentgift.com. It puts a lot of this in a simple perspective so that instead of just chasing your tail and trying to do this on muscle, that's what I warn my clients, my coaching clients about. Stop doing things on muscle and do it with a plan. And stop throwing tantrums when something's hard to become disciplined. Please stop doing that. Don't do that. Learn the power as business people of simple self-discipline. And that's, I say simple because when you have a simple plan, it's easy. And I'm giving you one, freeagentgift.com. If you just follow the outline there, everything will get incrementally easier. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We also post our content on YouTube because I know most of you go to YouTube these days. So don't forget to subscribe to the Realty Classroom channel. We'd also appreciate it if you would share our content with other real estate agents that might need some help. We'd appreciate that. I'm sure they would. But remember this, we sign off the same way every time. Nobody is coming for you. Nobody's going to help you figure this out, so you have to do it. So go get to work on your business, and we'll see you in the next episode to help motivate you, right? Inspire you, demonstrate to you through real practical application in my own business and in my own coaching business to do just that, okay? Thanks.